What's Happening? I'm Sarah Colvin. A strategic planning and nonprofit leadership training program is beginning this fall, and I am joined by a wonderful group to tell us all about that. The nonprofit world is so big here on Cape Cod. Looking forward to strengthening it and making it grow. Joining me in studio today, representing the Suffolk University Moakley Center, Professor Mike Lavin. Good morning.
Morning.
And Tammi Jacobsen from Cape Cod Community College and the Workforce Education Resource Center. Is that correct?
Yes, we have a new name now, the Center for Corporate and Professional Education.
Center for Corporate and Professional Education.
Yes.
And of course, Reid from Bridgewater State University, Cape Cod. Welcome. Thank you all so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
So let's talk a little bit about the leadership training program, and I'll throw it to whomever wants to start. How did the idea for this come about?
So over the last few years, the three of us have been representing our institutions and working alongside the Cape Cod Foundation. And we've been having meetings and talking about ways that we could better provide educational opportunities to folks here on the Cape and Islands, and specifically folks who are employed in our nonprofit sector. So we worked alongside the foundation, and we formed something called the Cape and Islands Partnership for Nonprofit Advancement, which is a regional collaborative whose mission is to leverage resources effectively to coordinate training for folks in the nonprofit sector. And we're the three higher education institutions in that partnership. And so we've taken our relationship a step further to provide the program that we're here to talk about today.
Wonderful. And so how much involvement have BSU and Suffolk and 4Cs had in the nonprofit sector? Because again, it is one of the largest sectors here on the Cape. We have, I don't even want to guess as to how many nonprofits we have here. But can you talk to me about your kind of current level of involvement and how this is going to make that grow?
Sure. We've partnered before, the three of us, to offer several different types of nonprofit programming. A couple years ago, we offered the Nonprofit Summit, and we held that at Cape Cod Community College. And we've worked in collaboration together to offer different programs that we feel that there's a need for in the nonprofit sector on the Cape. And we really want to leverage all of the resources we have together to be able to offer something that is of value to the nonprofit individuals and organizations here.
Wonderful. And Professor Lavin for Suffolk and the Moakley Center.
The Moakley Center provides training programs and academic support and research support both for local governments and for nonprofits. And part of that effort has always been to offer training programs and certificate programs. So we do a certificate for nonprofits. And we've done these things here on the Cape for any number of years, including a certificate for local government. So the Moakley Center has been very much involved. We're part of the larger Institute for Public Service, excuse me, the Institute for Public Service at Suffolk, which also has a major in the master's level in nonprofits. So pretty involved both in terms of practice and in terms of the education.
Indeed, and we've talked a little bit about the size of the nonprofit sector, but really the work impacts so many of us, almost all of us here on Cape Cod. So I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit of that and talk about really the impact that our nonprofits have here on the Cape.
Sure. So, as so many people know, Cape Cod, we're known for being the second largest tourism destination here in the Commonwealth. We're known for having beautiful, beaches and access to recreation like boating, and we have all these second homeowners. But I think a lot of us know and talk about, or at least we do in the higher education sector, that there is a disparity between those folks and then the people, the 215,000 folks who live here year round. And the nonprofit sector really has a heavy hand in helping those individuals and helping our keep our environment pristine for not only the visitors to Cape Cod, but also for the year-round residents. So what we hope to do through our educational programs is sort of capitalize on the strengths of those individuals, of the year-round folks, and help them through these nonprofit organizations build their social capital. So help them connect with one another, connect with donors, build their capacity, strengthen their staff and volunteer base.
Absolutely, which, personally, I serve on many boards. I've had a lot of experience doing that. And I think that one of the most challenging thing is finding the right people and really engaging the people who aren't in the circle. I feel like there's a circle of people who are involved. I know, one of my friends is the chair of 3 boards right now, I think. And so kind of finding a way to diversify that and really strengthen that and let people know that there are ways to do that is so important, not just for enriching the community, but for enriching the strength of the nonprofits as well. And do you find that through your universities and the higher education institutes that people are interested in participating or working for nonprofits?
It is a big sector here on the Cape, and I do find that a lot of our students that enroll in many of the programs that we offer, our training programs, there are a lot of nonprofits in the room. It's when we talk about workplace training, sometimes I think the region, doesn't think about nonprofits when you say workforce training, but they're significant. They play a significant role, and there's a significant number of them here that are taking advantage of those types of courses.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this nonprofit leadership training program. Tell me a little bit about the nuts and bolts. How is it going to work? Who are you looking for to participate in this program?
This is a program that has come out of, excuse me, I can't clear my throat. That's come out of the work that I've done for the last decade or so with nonprofits, particularly doing consulting and strategic planning with them. And during that period of time, I very much came to the conclusion that it would be a really good idea if we can get people within the organizations actually having the capacity to do the strategic planning themselves and be able to build that as part of their organizational structure. So over the last couple of years, I've written some grants, one to the Cape Cod Foundation and one to the Cape Cod 5 Foundation, both of which were funded by these 2 organizations, by the two grant makers, to put together a program like this that is directed really at the mid-level type management structure in Cape Cod nonprofits, with a particular focus on looking at the smaller and the mid-sized nonprofits as sort of being the target population, because it's my opinion that the big guys get all they can use anyways, basically. So we're trying to use these very generous funding that we've gotten from the 2 foundations to put together a nuts and bolts kind of program in which people who are in responsible positions within their nonprofits, but are kind of the people who are going to be the next generation of leadership, can begin to put these skills together and actually see how the process works.
And a real valuable asset. I mean, I think about, so this is essentially training the nonprofits to be able to facilitate the strategic planning session on their own without having to hire a consultant, which for a smaller nonprofit is a major expense. It's tens of thousands of dollars to hire that consultant, and then the time and the arranging. So to be able to do that internally is incredibly valuable for a nonprofit.
And having been a consultant for a number of years, I'm putting myself out of business, but I'm happy to do it, particularly to benefit the small guys, the small nonprofits, the mid-sized nonprofits that, as you rightly said, will struggle financially to hire a consultant to come in and do this. It's a process. It's something that is not easily learned, but can be learned, and to get good quality mid-level management people get it. They've got it forever. I mean, it doesn't change much.
How essential is strategic planning to a nonprofit organization?
I would say it's essential in terms of being able to maintain its corporate culture, its mission, its vision, and all that. Excuse me again, and also to be able to adapt to changes in the marketplace. And without doing strategic planning on a regular basis, organizations, nonprofit, for-profit, or anything, will have a hard time keeping up with what's happening, because this is a market that changes all the time. So strategic planning is a precursor to change. And so if you can strategically plan regularly, you can be prepared to make change.
Absolutely.
And without change, we don't make it anymore.
So what kind of skills will folks who go through this course learn? What will they be exposed to?
They'll learn modeling skills. They'll learn to figure out their own organizations. They'll learn skills in terms of research. They'll learn skills for database management, database collection, They'll be involved in interviewing to collect data. They'll learn SWOT analysis. They'll start figuring out some financial pieces of how to make the thing work after you figured it out. Where do you get the money? So it's pretty comprehensive approach to trying to give the up and coming leadership in organizations the skill set they're going to need, not to just figure out today, but also to prepare themselves to move ahead.
Wonderful. So, what kind of a commitment? Maybe Tammi, you can help with this.
Sure.
What kind of a commitment is this course? How do people enroll, and what the logistics of it?
Sure. So ideally, we're looking for around 15 nonprofits to take part, sending 2 employees from each organization, and it's 5 sessions, 5 sort of workshop sessions focused on several topics related to strategic planning, and Professor Lavin and Professor Rivers are conducting the first 2,
Right.
and then Jen Reid from Bridgewater State, Cape Cod, is conducting the third one on the SWOT analysis, and then Cape Cod Community College is conducting the last 2. The last one's a wrap-up session, but then right before that we're doing something on how your fundraising plays into your strategic plan, and Georgia Cavallo, who's our grants director at the college, is actually teaching that session. So we're excited about it. There's a whole week and a half of on-site consulting where Professor Lavin and Rivers will actually go in to the nonprofits and sit with them and do some on-site consulting as well. So we're very excited about the depth and breadth of this program that we're offering this fall.
That's wonderful. And if people have not met Professor Rivers, she is amazing.
Yes.
She's a very dynamic woman. One of my favorite classes I took was with her.
Yep. She's also the associate director of the Moakley Center now, and
Very
doing
nice.
very well.
Excellent.
Yep.
And I think folks should know, because the program is being funded through the Cape Cod Foundation and the Cape Cod 5 Charitable Trust, there is no fee to the participants, but there is an application process.
Right.
So they can learn more about that on our website, which is Cape Cod, or www.capecod.edu/nonprofit strategic planning. And we do ask that they tell us a little bit about themselves and their organization. So we're gathering some information because we want to make sure that the composition of the class makes sense for all the participants, and that we're really selecting organizations who demonstrate great enthusiasm and interest in building their own capacity, and that also have the capacity to send 2 staff members to this training and to participate in the on-site consulting, because it is a bit of a commitment. But we're really excited because we'll be able to offer it to them at no cost, but that they'll get some really great capacity building tools through this program.
That's fantastic.
Hoping that this is going to function as a pilot type program, because both of the grant makers that are supporting this have indicated that they would like to do this again, assuming that the pilot works and it looks like we're making headway. So I would encourage as many nonprofits as want to apply, so we can get a real feel for the interest in this too.
Fantastic.
To go back for more money.
Well, I can already see the pile of applications on your desk, thinking about the fact that this doesn't cost anything, and the value of the knowledge that nonprofits are going to get. Is the application process open now?
It is.
Okay.
Yes. And they can visit our website to apply.
It's
Wonderful.
an online application, on our
Great.
website.
And it starts in October.
Yes.
Yep.
And the website one more time?
It is www.capecod.edu/nonprofit strategic planning.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that folks should know about this course?
We just encourage everyone to apply. We will also make it really fun. That there'll be
some good icebreakers.
Yeah, some good
and
icebreakers.
fun
We'll have
activities.
refreshments. It'll be all of our presenters are dynamic and interesting, and that it will be a worthy exercise for the organization that's interested in building their own capacity to plan for their future.
I think they should also know that this represents a real collaboration amongst institutions of higher education here on the Cape to do something here on the Cape. I've spent a lot of years, as you well know, talking about the idea of bringing higher education to this part of the state and making it meaningful. So I've got 2 really great partners here in Bridgewater and the community college and with Suffolk to try to put that thing together and make it happen here. So I'm really hoping that the nonprofits on the Cape see the value of this and garner the opportunity, because these are really three pretty good schools that are making this continuous commitment. So I thank my colleagues, but also really want this message to get out that this is here on the Cape for the Cape nonprofits, and really hoping people here figure it out.
Great. Well, we are looking forward to the Strategic Planning and Nonprofit Leadership Training Program. Joining me today in studio, Professor Mike Lavin, Tammi Jacobsen, and Jennifer Reid. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. For What's Happening, I'm Sarah Colvin.